Lou Desmond here, and thank you for being with us for another Maglite podcast. And great to have joining us today America's criminologist, Dr. Currie Myers, who importantly is, in this instance, one of the most important things is he is a board member of the Pedestrian Safety Institute. Pedestrian Safety Institute's mission is to try to stop the number of people being killed on our roadways and highways, especially pedestrians, from being struck and killed, as those numbers continue to go up year over year, and increasing again this year, at least from the first half of 2023 stats that have been reported by the Governors Association. So, Dr. Currie Myers, thank you for being here. Of course, the deadliest days of the year traditionally have been around the 4th of July. That has shifted a bit. The 4th of July remains some of the deadliest days of the year around that 4th of July holiday. But of course, you know, it's spreading out into other holidays as well, and in particularly the fall. And we'll get into talk about all that. But of course, Roadside Traffic Safety Awareness Month is the month of July. Maglite, of course, tries to alert everybody to this every year. The Pedestrian Safety Institute and Maglite got that program going a number of years ago to try to alert people to be safe, especially around these most dangerous days of the year. And welcome to the podcast, Dr. Myers, after that long preamble.
Always a pleasure to be on, and thanks to Maglite for all they do as well on this issue in particular. Great source of illumination, and I carried it often as a young state trooper and as a KBI agent and all those kinds of things. So appreciate being on. Pedestrian fatalities continue to be a problem in the United States. We had about 6,500 in 2020. It rose considerably in 2022 to 7,500. There's nearly 67,000 pedestrians injured nationwide. And so far, as you said, this year, we're not probably going to be as high as 2022. But we're going to get close to that. And as a former law enforcement officer, about 8%, Lou, of police officer deaths are due to being killed in the line of duty by being struck by cars as they're out either working accident investigations, stopping cars, or doing traffic control. So really the most common reasons that we're seeing out there is distracted driving is probably the first. You know, the use of mobile phones and other distractions has become a significant problem. Speeding has always been an issue. Alcohol impairment, the failure to yield, just being able to get over. That's why it's so important to get over when you see people walking, especially if they don't have enough room. Poor visibility, that's the reason night is when we have the most deaths for people. And the last two are interesting. It's urban design, how we should design our roadways for pedestrians, which in many cases we don't. And then, believe it or not, the lack of enforcement. This comes back again with the defund movement, jaywalking and other illegal behavior, because we no longer enforce those things as a practical matter. More and more people are crossing busy streets when they shouldn't.
Absolutely. And of course, Maglite is a supporter of the National Police Dog Foundation. I was at that memorial a couple of months ago. They have the National Canine Memorial every year, that same time as Police Week. And a number of the canine officers that were killed were run over. Yeah. I was surprised at that number. And I guess for the very same reasons it happens to law enforcement, or it also could be fleeing suspects, correct?
That's correct. So it's not all just traffic enforcement. They could be out, and of course a dog is busy interacting. They don't have the senses that we have on traffic. They're paying attention to their targets. And so it's easy for a dog to get struck if they're engaged, depending on what they're used for. But if they're alerting because of narcotics, if they're trying to stop a suspect, they're going to be busy doing that. So we need to give law enforcement a wide berth when they have these car stops, because you never know if it's multiple officers or a canine or two that's assisting in the stop.
What do you make of the big spike in the fall and early winter in the numbers of people being struck and killed?
Well, it's concurrent with when the sun goes down. So the data supports when the sun goes down, more people get struck and killed, and it's really because of not having illumination. So that's the primary problem. As it gets towards dusk, and then of course the longer it goes into the nighttime, and it increases alcohol use, and the longer it goes in, then you're going to have those increases. So it makes sense that the fall is a perfect time for more accidents. As you said, the summer months are also have problems, but that's usually around holidays, which also makes sense. The 4th of July is coming up, and there's going to be a lot of people out of their cars in crowded areas watching fireworks, going to parties. So there, all sorts of times a day could be a problem there. And then the other thing about the fall is it's really nice in most of America. And in most America, they like going out for those nice walks in the evening. And it's, if you don't have the right street lighting, if you don't have the right illumination for yourself, reflective vest, and maybe carrying some sort of flashlight, then there's a higher probability you could get struck and killed.
And something like 70%, I believe it is, of the traffic pedestrian fatalities happen in darkness. So obviously a big correlation there. People, to be safe, carry some illumination, wear reflective clothing, crosswalks, try to be in places where there's good lighting. If you're going to be walking along a street, a busy intersection, those are some of the tips that are there. You can find them by going to maglite.com and looking up pedestrian safety, or you can go to the Pedestrian Safety Institute, pedestriansafetyinstitute.org. Pedestriansafetyinstitute.org is the website, and you can find tips there to be safe and have much less chance that you're going to end up being struck and injured or killed by a vehicle. Well, it's not that we celebrate Pedestrian Traffic Safety Awareness Month. We are just trying to drive awareness, right, Dr. Myers?
Oh, that's very true. It's important to have community education so people are on the forefront of this. And the other thing is, if you're driving, you never know when you're going to get stranded. You never know if you're going to have a breakdown where you have to walk. So carry a crash bag, carry something that's got illumination in it, a reflective vest, because you're not prepared then if you break down. And we have a lot of people struck and killed in those incidents as well.
Absolutely. And Maglite has some products like our traffic safety wands and those sorts of things that are good for that type of illumination, replacing the old dangerous road flares that start fires and that sort of thing. But bring light, bring illumination. You're going to be a lot safer if you are a pedestrian near any kind of a busy or even not busy street. Just be safe out there, especially around these big holiday weekends and in the fall and winter when it starts to get darker and it's nice outside. People are tempted to be more outside, and that's why those numbers go up, especially at night. All right, Dr. Myers, thank you for being here on the Maglite podcast. Appreciate it. Everybody out there, until next time.